for a brief moment, and
all right, so we are back in this game, and thankfully nothing too crazy happened. Both players starting off with their usual plan builds. Now, again, this is Dual Sight, where it's a clash of trouble between grass and lava, two very conflicting forces
very
in Mother Nature. So
one destroys, one creates. It's a crazy.
It's a crazy map. While Longshot has a little bit of graphical issues, I'm not exactly sure what's going on here, but keep in mind, again, both players sending out their overlords, very common in ZVZ. And of course, in a matchup like ZVZ, it's just a little bit harder sometimes to identify what your opponent is doing.
Right.
So you have to try to get some good information early on, but even then it's inconclusive. So both these players are going to feel each other out a lot, but since they're both high masters to even grandmasters level players, you can be sure that they at least have some good understanding of each other.
Yeah, you know, and the fact that both of them are playing a mirror race right now, I mean, it's going to be ZBZ, so we'll see what they decide to do from the deviation between, because normally during early game they will go the same amount of builds, and we'll be able to mirror each other's builds very often, but sometimes one player will want to deviate and will want to be able to put the other player on tilt in a way of putting it, you know, making sure that the other player is, you know, mentally unstable, not going to be able to deal with any type of an attack that may be coming in. So, you know, but right now these two players are macroing it up, and
yeah, nothing too out of the ordinary for anything. And keep in mind, guys, this is game number 1 of the series, and it's a process, kind of like a tennis match between two schools where you just have to focus on winning your set. You can't it's only a best of 1. You don't have a best of 3 to really work with. So sometimes people would say you want to play safe in a series, especially like ZVZ, which is really volatile early on. If a person chooses to go for some kind of early rush, or they choose to play really greedy, whichever they do, you have to be able to react accordingly. So it's a best of 1, so you have to play. I would say you would want to play safe, in my opinion, but some players take that initiative, say, it's a best of 1, I got to end it quick, hit him where it hurts. And that's why, ultimately, both players are going to scout. Looks like the first couple Zerglings here from BroboCop do get seen by Kangwook's Overlord, and that does tell him that, hey, you know, that is a couple of Zerglings out here. I'm going to have to get up some Zerglings of my own, and they're going to be able to meet in the center of the map here, hopefully be able to get a good feel of how many Zergling counts. It's important to keep track of how many Zerglings you see of your opponent, because that's also how many larvae you keep track of your opponent.
Right, so we do see 6 Zerglings that have been scouted coming down the field, and actually he's going to be kind of knocking at the door a little bit here, just kind of see if there was an early expansion or any of that sorts, but right now he is just feeling out his opponent right now, and that's actually one of the things that these two players want to do right now, is really feel each other out, want to make sure that their scouting information is on par, want to make sure that the larva that they're using is exactly, but right now he's going to be moving in a little bit right now, and he does see the Zerglings, and actually he's going to move in. He does see the Banelings. The Banelings are going to be coming out, and the moment that these Banelings are coming out, I'm curious to see what he's going to be able to do here. So
I don't know. Looks like BroboCop is moving out. Kangwook does know about these Banes. He does have a way to try to block it here. Will he be able to get there in time? Looks like the Zerglings and the Banelings do get past, and a couple of them are heading straight for the mineral line. Kangwook's frankly trying to run at this point. They are bundling up here by the minerals, and it looks like a couple of them do end up going onto the Roach Warren, and a crisis averted. The Roaches that are hatching are going to dispatch the rest of these Zerglings, and it looks like Kangwook survived a huge potential crisis at his mineral line there.
Yeah, and currently right now, I mean, with the amount of Banelings that was lost and not enough damage dealt to him, I'm curious to find out if he's going to be able to recuperate if he decides to push up with those Roaches. So we'll find out if he decides to push. I mean, he's got to be pushing, he's got to be building up some sort of defense, because knowing he's far behind with the larva count, he is going to be making a few more Zerglings, so...
Yeah, absolutely. Now, don't get me wrong, Kangwook still can hold this, but these are a lot of Roaches actually for this early on. It's going to take a lot of Zerglings, but to get a good surround. Oh no, Kangwook might be out of position. He's going to try to run to the wall to reduce surface area here. One roach does end up getting caught here. BroboCop frantically trying to take out these roaches as fast as possible. Kangwook does not have any reinforcement Zerglings. That's usually how you whittle down the Zergling numbers. And Kangwook seems to have overextended himself a little bit here, long shot.
A little bit. Normally, that's actually what does happen, you know, where you feel like you've finally done a really good push and you've defended it very well, and you feel confident that you've actually defended that push, but then you decide to take what was left of that force that you defended with, and you started pushing with that and not, you know, keeping it safe and, you know, not letting the other player, you know, like have to use his larva and make more drones, but instead he decides to defend it with more Zerglings, and therefore you lost that entire roach force.
Absolutely. So Kangwook did have some roaches protecting the ramp, making sure BroboCop could not enter. Now at this point, BroboCop, he's falling back, and of course Kangwook does see the expansion here with his overlords, so he knows BroboCop's planning on expanding at this point, which is a good decision. You can't actually just continue to make speedlings off of one base. It's just not a sustainable build, and he honestly knows that at this point his tech is behind because he got roaches way later, so why not expand and try to capitalize on that. Kangwook moving down the ramp here, taking out some of these Zerglings, and looks like at this point he's just playing as safe as possible, does not want to get busted the way he did. He almost, again, lost his entire economy.
Yeah, because with the Zergling run-by, he's got to play very defensive, and the fact that BroboCop does have the map control with these Zerglings, he is going to be able to just build up his macro as quickly as possible, and, you know, hinder Kangwook is not going to be able to get his expansion up very early, so he is going to be a little bit behind. But once this expansion goes up, he really needs to decide whether he's going to be macroing up, deciding to get an expansion up, or go for another heavy push.
Oh, and looks like Kangwook has made several banelings. He's made 12 at this point, and Kangwook, of course, sees all of this with his forward overlord here at the natural, so he knows how many to account for, and looks like BroboCop's using them defensively at this point, and he's running a huge pack of Zerglings here to the natural. Kangwook, his roaches are on creep, but they're also out in the open. BroboCop's going to go ahead and take this notion to fall backwards. Looks like BroboCop clearing out these overlord counts. Very good thing to just deny your opponent information, as right now these overlords are pretty much free scouting for their allies right now.
Yeah, pretty much. And he does have a solid wall off on that ramp, so he's not going to be able to get into there with anything. But right now, he is going to be getting up his... Ooh. Did he just lose a few banelings?
Yeah, looks like at the same time Kangwook is moving out with his roaches. A couple of his banelings did detonate off. Oh, they get some good